Everybody, welcome to the 300th anniversary celebration of the London Britain Township. We're getting started on our second broadcast of the day. We may have one or two more, and we're going to be doing some interviews, I think, this time around. I'm really hoping to see some good folks from the vending. That was, by the way, there was a stink bug that was on my microphone stand, and it just kind of made its way to my leg. All right, I do have a quick clarification. Earlier I said the blue tent roof with Luis Rodriguez or Luis Rodriguez. He goes by either, but it's technically Luis. All right, so he's over there under the blue tent. He is Chester County Planning Commission. Yeah, all right. And then the red tent is London Britain County Commission. And then the London Britain Township Planning Commission. And then the beige tent is the supervisors, and then the dark blue tent is the land trust. So I think I got them all straight now. Thank you, Luis, for straightening me out. And hopefully you'll get like thousands of people asking you questions now. All right. So now that we've gotten that straightened out, so at 1:30 we have we have Music in the Grove by Brian Iyer. So I'll be on for the next half an hour. And I see my first interviewee coming up here. Let me roll through them. Don't forget the food trucks. We got Don Chendo Comida Mexicana, Zach's Grill, Connections Catering, Hangry Bear, 22 Barbecue, and we also have Sips happening, along with, let me think about this, Cross and Kettle Corn over there. I can see their tent. And, I've known this guy for how long? 30 years plus? 30 years plus. All right, so Mark is, just throw those on if you want. And then you can hear, right? Can you hear? All right, now talking to the mic a little bit when you get comfortable. Okay. Can you hear you?
Yes, now I can.
Check. Now?
Yes.
Okay, I'll put you up a little bit. Yeah, don't feel shy about the mic.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Let me just make sure I'm up as high as I could go without feeding.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, man. So, Mark, you've been in the area for a long time.
Yes.
You married somebody from the area who's been here for a long time. Her family's been here for quite a while.
Right. She's from media.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right.
And I grew up near Cape Cod, and then we met at Port.
There you go.
What?
That's pretty cool history. I did not know that.
No.
That's pretty good to know. But we've both been in here like since what, the 90s or 80s?
Yeah.
Okay, I've been here since '84
And
in Chester County.
all our kids in Abolition School District.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. And Abington Grove School District has Abington Grove. No. There's a school board director running for the school board.
Okay.
Over there is one of the booths. So yeah. All right. Done with that. Let's talk about your books. You got two. The second one was a surprise for me. I knew you wrote the first one,
right,
and I know that you're a prolific writer. But I'm glad to see a second one come out because I thought the first one was pretty spot on, right? So let's talk about what brought you into the writing realm first, okay? The whole background. Why are you even writing?
I blame it on my sister because she lives in California. She's editor for a local newspaper. She wrote an article on a jazz festival, and the lady who was running the jazz festival really liked the article, gave her an orchid, the flower, and my sister said, "Oh, orchid, my brother lives near Kennett Square, London Gardens is there." And she said, "Kennett Square, Lincoln University is close to there. My husband graduated from Lincoln. My sister said that my brother graduated from Lincoln." So a week later, I got an email. It's me out to Ernie and myself talking to each other. We get talking. He said, "Well, my great-grandfather, my great-grandfather helped found Lincoln University." What? And they were involved in the Underground Railroad. So I said to my wife, what's the Underground Railroad? The only Underground Railroad I know is the subway.
The tube in London, right?
Right.
Not quite.
But so I started looking into it, and it's like yarn. Like,
That's like a rabbit hole, though. When you start looking into that, you're like, what? Wait, what? And then start, yeah. So
you know, just started looking into it. It's like, oh, what about this? Oh, Lincoln University, Hosanna Church. Oh, look at this. Going with the Dust Friends Meeting House. One thing after another. And that's how the book came into being. So 2.5 years of research and then putting it together. Then what happened was, doing book presentations, people would come and say, well, I didn't know about that. I didn't know about that. I said, well, what else don't people know about it? And that's how the second book came into being. Because the second book is about that unknown, little known, and forgotten history of Chesapeake.
wow. Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, well, you know, we're celebrating the 300th, anniversary. So you've got basically over 300 years because people settled here in the 1600s. So that's actually 400 years. So there's a lot that has happened in 400 years that we've probably forgotten more than we remember.
Well,
That's
like,
one of those scenarios.
New London's not too far from here. And that
Right.
New London Academy, 3 graduates of New London Academy were signers of the Declaration of Independence.
Wow.
And also, they produced governors, congressmen, senators, and state representative John Lawrence
Yes.
outside of him. And he said, he goes to me if it weren't for New London Academy,
Okay.
it wouldn't exist. There's so many governors, senators, army people came out of New London Academy.
So the whole country has been boosted by New London Academy.
Right. Yeah.
That's definitely something new.
And then in my Lost Chester County, one of the things I write about is Nottingham Park.
Hey there, you know we're live, right? You're on Facebook right now, Facebook Live. That was Steve Rossi. He's a friend of mine. We sometimes play poker together. Yeah, I'm going. I think I'm going to go to the next one. Anyway, so
No, and just like in this book, I talk about Nottingham Park. Park, you know, Nottingham Park.
yeah.
Well, also it's known as the Nottingham Serpentine Barracks.
Oh, the Chrome Serpentine Barrens. They have a hiking thing there.
Yes, and chromite. At one point, the barrens produced more chromite than anywhere else in the world.
Hence the name.
Yes, and chromite, what they started using that for and was mixing it with natural dyes so they wouldn't fade.
Okay.
And a fellow from here went over to England to sell the dye. Other people were doing it because one would do something different. And they used to chromite with paint. So his name was Andreas Kurtz, Kurtz.
Okay.
He came up with a color called Kurtz Yellow. And Princess Charlotte loved the color. She painted all of her carriages that yellow.
Wait, you're going to have to look that up.
And
Like right now. We're live. You look that up while we're talking.
And that was the inspiration for the yellow taxi cabs in New York City.
Same.
And all the yellow school buses in the United States.
Curse yellow.
Yes.
From the Chrome
Yes.
Serpentine Barrens.
Right?
Well, I don't know if you've ever been hiking there,
Yes.
but it's actually a pretty cool hiking spot. My wife and I have done it. Diane and I have gone there. We discovered it during COVID, by the way. You know, and it was perfect because like nobody knew it even existed.
Well, and that's how this first book came about was COVID. And I'm sitting at home and
What do I do?
and I started writing it. And
Yeah.
it's such that I was doing research through the Chester County Historical Society. When that's COVID hit, they would put, I'd request information, they put it in a box, I'd go pick it up outside, take it home, use it, come back, and then have to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, COVID was kind of strange with that, and that was why we did stuff like that. We wanted to do stuff. First of all, it's free to go to the Chrome Serpentine Barrens,
Right.
and it's like 5 miles of hiking inside. And they have what we met somebody there who was actually logging flowers. They have over 300 flowers that are.
Some of them, it's the only place they grow in the whole world.
Yeah, they're so rare. They only grow there, and so when we were there, and we wrote it up on our blog, so it's on journeymoreoften.today. You can go to the Chrome Serpentine Barren Park, and you can see we took a lot of pictures of the flowers. And we went, I can't remember, I think it was in the spring, and there were a ton of flowers, and there were like all sorts of different flowers.
Well, and the reason being is because it's the serpentine, the land is so high, so very few plants can survive.
Yeah, that explains it, because there wasn't a whole bunch of undergrowth.
No.
There was a little bit, but not a whole bunch. And there's like streams everywhere.
Yes.
And we, I mean, if you're gonna wear a pair of boots that are waterproof, because at some point you're gonna end up, because there's like 5 streams on the site, and there's like 3 or 4 confluences. And there, by the way, if it's spring, it was spring, because on the north side there was an Amish guy. He was tilling the farm ready for spring planting. And I was like, this is so cool. So anyway, sorry. Wait, did I introduce you? Mark Lanyon. All right, so Mark Lanyon. I thought I did, but I wasn't sure. Mark Lanyon. That's Lanyon, right? So if you're Googling Mark Lanyon, Google that, and the one book, Chester County railroads, and all right. So let's talk. All right. So one of my favorite things is railroads, and I know there's a lot of railroads that people actually don't know about in Chester County.
Well, and the thing is that the Underground Railroad, the way the name came about was railroads were just becoming
Right.
And there's a group of slave catchers going after some slaves, and they disappeared. And they said, they must have gone into an underground railroad. And that's how the name came about.
Yes. So I'm trying to think of her name now. She came through Chester County.
What happened was Harry Tubman, the first time she was coming up from Delaware, up 52, she came to the Lanyon House, which is a big white house, which is right in between, that's where Delaware and Pennsylvania meet. She passed into Pennsylvania. She looked at her hands to see if she was different, because she knew she was free. And she said right then, she felt the glory of God just surrounded her.
Wow.
And she wanted other people to experience that, so that's why she had over 750 people.
I mean, a lot. A lot of people to become free. She was what they called a conductor. So she would actually go into a slave state, and then she would work to bring them through. And they called it the Underground Railroad, like you said, because they couldn't find them, so they must have gone underground. But there were different locations that were safe houses, and they would just move from safe house to safe house until they were over into free territory. Now it's interesting you said from Delaware to Pennsylvania, because Delaware was kind of like in between.
Right, and it's still considered a slave state.
Exactly, but they were above the Mason-Dixon line. And so the technical definition, okay, we talked about the Mason-Dixon line earlier. Technical definition of slave states was everything below the Mason-Dixon line. But yet Delaware was above the Mason-Dixon line, but they were still they were like still promoting slavery at that time.
And Thomas Garrett, who worked closely with Harry Tubman, he was a printer. He lived in Wilmington, and his was the furthest south for an Underground Railroad station. He one time said to Harriet, well, you're a lot like a freighter. You must depend on the inner light to guide you. She said, I don't know anything about inner light. I just let God guide me.
Yeah.
And she never, ever lost a single person. Anyone she brought with her, one of the reasons she did, she always carried a gun with her. Oh. So
I didn't know she was carrying.
So if somebody said, I don't want to continue, she'd pull out her gun and said, you're going to continue with me.
Oh,
so,
there were no what do you call it? Nobody abandoned the cause.
No,
that's an interesting little thing. But she was an amazing woman. All the things that she did with the Underground Railroad and how many people's lives she saved as a result of that. And then all the generations, the successive generations.
And then what happened when she was a young girl, she was going to pick up some groceries, and a young fellow was in the grocery store shoplifting. He ran out and the shop owner threw a rock from the scale, missed him, but hit her in the head, and she was unconscious. So from then on, she had visions, and
Ooh.
what that helped her was she'd like have this vision and be like, don't go this way, go this way. And if she'd gone the other way, she would have been up.
Well, it kind of like opened up her perception.
Right. And then you have the Longwood Progressive Friends Living House.
Yes.
If you go to Longwood Gardens, it's that almost 3-story white building. And what happened there, that was founded because you had the progressive Quakers and the conservative Quakers. 1776 when the Quakers outlawed slavery.
Okay.
He said, if you own slaves, you have to pay them. So the conservatives said, I don't want to pay this, that's all I have to do. The progressives were like, no, we have to do more.
Yeah, that's not
We
enough.
have to work for abolition on slavery, and we have to help with the Underground Railroad. So another Quakers got thrown out of the meeting houses because they were considered too worldly. They were involved with the Underground Railroad. So that's why 58 people came together and founded the Longwood Progressive Friends Meeting.
It's not surprising that the Friends meeting participated in that,
Right.
because they're all about people.
Oh, and people say, why was the Underground Railroad so big in this area? And I always say because of the Quakers. Because they really felt that was their
Right,
mission,
right.
abolition.
So, plus a lot of the population was in the area.
Yeah.
Right? So you got a lot of people, even in Maryland, there was a ton of population in Maryland on, near Delaware, near, southeastern Pennsylvania. So, if you go out west in Pennsylvania, or not Pennsylvania, in Maryland or West Virginia, you go out west, there wasn't a whole lot going on anyway.
No.
There might have been like 5 slaves out there on one farm kind of thing. Not to minimize that, but I mean, you've got the biggest volume in this area.
That way, West Virginia, people have a lot of skills.
Yeah.
But these Longwood First Friends meeting, they had a lot of speakers there.
Mhm.
Kevin spoke there. I don't know, Karen Fisher Stone was a big speaker there.
Wow.
Of course, she's my cousin. She and I are cousins.
Did not know that. Mark is full of surprises. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Wow. So here's a little tidbit that it really does, it barely blends in. But I used to have a house in Kennett Square. Huh?
What, our house?
No, I used to have a house. We rented it out, but before we rented it out, we renovated it. And in the process of renovating it, somebody told us that it was a house on the
station
on the Underground Railroad. So now we're like, all right, well, now there was a floor in the basement. And so we pulled up the floor because it was rotting anyway, so we needed to replace the floor, and we found a root cellar. Now we dug that root cellar. We probably went down a good 6 feet, and it had stone steps going down into this root cellar. And every time you're going down there and you're pulling like a bucket out of there, I'm thinking to myself, how far is this down, right? And we got down about 6 feet, and we just ran out of steam, literally and figuratively. We were like, we gotta put the floor back at some point. We did put the floor back with a trap door so you could get in it and see it. But we never got to it was rumored that there was a tunnel from that root cellar over to Anson B. Nixon Park. Okay. And which is only literally about 150 feet away. And when you get down to that park, there's a steep slope there. And we did go in Anson B. Nixon and look for where it's coming out, but I think it's all been filled in at this point.
And that's what happened with the house that we lived in for quite a while in China. It had a sub-basement. So it was not an official Underground Railroad station, but it was a way station. Because if you were officially involved with the Underground Railroad, you ran the risk of losing everything. And Thomas Garrett, his business was taken by the court. His house was taken.
Yeah.
He lost everything. And he was known as the famous, the Moses. He's known as the Moses of Bloomington. And people around him raised money, and today he uses to raise money.
Oh, GoFundMe.
Yeah, he
did a GoFundMe.
Old-fashioned GoFundMe.
Back in the...
They raised money, he got his business back, his house back, everything back.
Wow.
Respect it so much.
That's pretty cool. that you think about that. This country has a lot of history like that, and sometimes when you're doing the right thing, you always say, oh, I'm getting punished for doing the right thing. Sometimes it happens.
It's like, why do bad things happen to good people?
Yeah. Yeah, and because people obviously people don't, slavery made money, unfortunately. So people didn't want to lose slavery, and those who were heavy into slavery, they didn't want to lose it. So they, and back then things were, pretty intense, when it came to slaves or no slaves, and so the way stations were important because there was an assumption that you were either all in one pot or another pot. And way stations allowed somebody to like drift back and forth and say, hey, I'm kind of here, but, watch my hands over here while they leave the house kind of thing,
And then like in Westboro, you have Ann Preston, her house, she was a medical doctor. She was a real athlete, just conducting.
So where is that house?
Right by that old high school. There's a historic marker. Almost across from the church of the Nazarene.
Oh, the old high school, not being, so the old high school is actually the newer old high school, but I got it. So she's across the street from that.
Yeah, and there's a historic marker.
Oh, there is a marker. I saw that the other day. I was like, what? So my wife and I walk a lot.
Okay.
We were walking, we started, got our park, and we walked over to now the middle school. We do a loop around the middle school parking lot. But while I was doing the loop around the middle school, I was looking over there and I seen a marker. I'm like, what in the world is a marker doing over there?
And so what it is, what she would do, she would go to Hosanna Church, because that's where a lot of the freedom seekers would come.
Okay.
And they would get trained in, and some of them moved on, but she would pick them up, but she always brought changing clothes with her, so she would dress up the females, Quaker, so she would ride around in a carriage. Slave hunters would come up with, bam, I'm looking for a escaped slave. Haven't seen her.
Yeah.
Have a good day. They took his hat at her. She got off with the slave.
That is. But I didn't know that about the doctor's son.
And then also,
but that's so cool. Now I know when if we walk that way again, I'll know.
And if you exit off of at Longwood, heading towards Kenneth, where people go what's called X-Ray.
Oh yeah.
Big house right in front.
In the front, yeah.
That Doris house, and that belongs to a gentleman who's a Quaker, and he's a doctor. Same thing. He treats people at the night.
Okay. Is that on the historic register?
Yeah.
I thought so. I thought so because it probably would have been like demoed. Otherwise.
Well, and that's the thing, like John Hancock's house. That's the White House in London past Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh, yeah, the one they moved back 50 feet.
Longwood Gardens owns that.
Yes, they do.
So they moved it back, and that one, what would happen is slaves would go into the basement, go through the tunnel, and the gardens where the Dunkin' Donuts and they'll come up there and go to the woods.
Right, they go across.
One time, Hannah Fox was eating a slave breakfast. There's a pounding on the door. She knew it was a slave catcher. She just finished baking bread. She opened up the oven, pushed the guy in, slammed the door. Slave catcher comes in, looks all over. I thought for sure there was a slave in there. Well, oh well. She opens up the door. He comes out. A little warm, but it's still free.
Wow, toasty.
Yeah.
It's a little toasty in there. That's, and some of these stories are in there.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. And so I shudder to think how many of those stories are in, probably 1,000 of those stories on there. It feels like.
Yeah.
I'm exaggerating, but it's okay. There's a lot of really good stories in that book. All right, and in this book, let's spend a little time. We've got 7 more minutes. Okay. Let's spend some time on that book. So that's the stuff that.
This is the one I wrote after I wrote the first one, because doing presentations, people would come up afterward. I didn't know about that. I never knew about that. And so I thought, what else do people know about? So this is about the unknown, the little known, and forgotten history.
And I like that because there's always something, right? There's always something that you can pick out that people don't realize. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. A lot of people have heard about Harriet Tubman, but I've met people it's less and less as each generation goes on because that that familiarity is gone. I mean, we're 150 years past slavery now, right? So, which you think about it, it's amazing that we even remember half of what we remember. But those are the things, that, like the Harriet Tubman story, she gained fame not intentionally, but she gained fame just by doing what she did. But then there were other people who did the same thing that are not as well known.
And that's what Queen Victoria awarded the silver medal for the war, and invited her to England because she never made it over.
Yeah.
And one thing about her, she was, up until Iraq War, she was the only female that came up with a plan for a battle. And she led a bunch of soldiers into battle. They took over Confederate stronghold,
Wow.
freed a bunch of slaves, and destroyed a lot of things. So the Smithsonian awarded her acknowledged her as well.
Wow. I mean, yeah, if you really consider all the things that she did, I mean, I read a book about her, when I was in elementary school, and I was like, I was impressed then. You know what I mean? I'm like, whoa, this is a lot for a person to do, and a lot of people don't realize the inherent danger of doing something like that. Those dangers don't really exist anymore as far as that, in that fashion. So it's like, whoa, I mean, her life is on the line pretty much every day, and then she got back, even when she got, and there were, believe it or not, people, above the Mason-Dixon line may have been slave-free, but it wasn't necessarily, safe. You had to go a little further than the line. You had to go to, mid-Pennsylvania to really be free.
Because slave catchers could cross
They could jump the line, and it's kind of like, when you're speeding, a police officer can follow you into another jurisdiction.
Are you speaking from personal experience?
I can neither confirm nor deny. but no, I mean, the whole point of that is if it was more than a day's travel, you were pretty safe, because they weren't going to come after you 2 days travel kind of thing. So you had to get a little further than the line, and people are like, oh no, you're just over the line. You go over the line, and yeah, we got 3 minutes. We'll turn it over to Brian Eyre. All right, yeah.
Well, just real quick.
Yes, please.
In some of the books, I talk about historic East Linden Street, which is in Kennett Square.
Yes.
If you drive in to Kennett, and the lines on the left, on the right is this placard that says, help, the Historic East Linden Project. Historic East Linden Street is the oldest continuing integrated street in the United States.
All right. So, I mean, these are the kinds of things that you're going to... Now, if you're at your booth, because obviously you're not at your booth right now,
Right.
If you're at your booth, would you be willing to sign?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So buy a book, and he'll get you to sign it, or else, no. You can get him to sign it. Now, that's okay, too, because he probably sells these online, folks, so if you can't make it today, that's okay, too, right?
Right.
So,
you just email me or go online. I have the PayPal link, which is, you can pay me that way.
So, Mark Lanyon, are you on any particular venues to sell your books?
No.
Just like you have your own website kind of thing?
Or you just email, or just look me up online.
All right, so here's how it goes. You Google Mark Lanyon, Lanyon. You Google Mark Lanyon. I think you know how to spell Mark? I hope so. Anyway, and then he'll come up. Google Underground Railroad. Mark Lanyon, Underground Railroad. His thing will come up. Boom. You just lock in. You pay for a book. He'll mail it out to you, and you'll have it. Oh, we still got 2 minutes, man. Is there anything else you want to follow up with? I want to make sure that they knew how to get your books. So.
No, it's just that I really enjoy, not next week, the week after, I'll be at Los Angeles and book presentation.
Oh, okay.
The next day, I'll be at the library down at Park Road, doing a presentation. then later on I'll do like extra library presentation. Anyway, the bottom line is I go around historical societies,
It's like everywhere.
libraries, schools, because to me, if you don't learn about the history, you won't forget it.
Right.
And there's so much rich history around it,
Yeah.
which is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that's the crazy cool part because everybody just thinks about the colonies and whatnot. They don't actually think that much about the Underground Railroad, but this area was steeped in the Underground Railroad and did a great job in that. All right, Mark, I appreciate it very much. Great having you here for an interview. We filled in the time. I knew that we would because that's stinking interesting. It's like really interesting. So, hey, everyone, what's the number on your tent? You're over on
16.
You're
Number 16.
you're which side? This side?
This side, right.
All right, he's on this side. Just go down
Right
there.
across from the music room.
Right across from the music venue, which, by the way, is a great segue. We've got Brian Eyre playing at the pavilion. He's playing at the pavilion for the next, whatever, probably 40 minutes to an hour. And then we'll come back. But, hey, thanks a lot, and we'll see you. We'll see you again. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it very much.
All right. Super.
Are you able to make an announcement for me?